This water is so good. Like I've just been eating spicy food all day, so I guess it does feel like that. It's like I'm being cleaned. It's like I'm being purified, and I need that. I love that feeling. It's like I'm
You gotta
becoming
get that purified
one
water.
with Jesus. I have entered the Sploder church, and Wordy Girl is giving me her wisdom in the form of a water bottle. I love it. Let's talk about. Let's talk
Well,
about this.
that's a great intro for the podcast
Let's
right
talk
there.
about.
Just
Let's talk about the Sploder church. What's your opinion on the current state of the Sploder church and how there's a lack of funding and a severe lack of pastors and messages being fulfilled?
well, I mean, it really all stems down to the true cause of all the issues, which is that Father Jeff has really been kind
Father
of
Jeff, it's
lacking
been
in
almost,
in helping the
it's
church
been
until
2,000
recently.
years.
Now, though,
2,000
he's
years.
back.
The rapture is happening. 2020, guys. Mark your calendars because the four horsemen are coming. And their names are Charismatic, Peanut 66, Troyo, and Jake. You gotta watch out because, I mean, we're done. I hope you
Yeah,
repent.
we like
You gotta
you
repent in
gotta
time.
wait.
You gotta beat the Quest Zone 2 for your sins to be forgiven. And if you're not on the leaderboard, I'm already on the leaderboard. I got first place, so I'm guaranteed a spot in the top doghouse of heaven. But I mean, if you can't beat,
Yeah, so
you got 3 years, so
uh,
you start practicing, guys. Might want to
yeah, 3 years to
prepare.
get good. Quest
Anyways,
Zone 2 speedrun when?
I've never seen anyone actually beat Quest Zone except for like some meow meow furry cat people who are crazy, and I don't even I question the legitimacy of their playthroughs, like Ace 32, whatever his name is, and I know Cyan Gaming hacks a lot of games, so that's out of the question. But you had some topics you wanted to talk about, some very exclusive topics, some insider info. Do you want to start on that?
Yes, I absolutely do. Now, I don't know if anyone else outside of and I'm allowed to actually say this because I've gotten permission from the person himself. So this isn't a leak. So I've gotten permission to reveal this, and I'm gonna keep it a secret for like who the person is, but
Yeah, we don't want to
there is a
reveal his
complete
name or her. It could be a her.
or her
But I mean, let's just
plot
assume
twist.
it is a
It is
his so
Buds.
we can narrow it down a
But
little. Buds is a he.
yeah, yeah, of course. So
You
it's
thought
a complete
you believed
reconstruction.
him lying about his gender? I'm
Did we
surprised.
just assume the creator's gender?
Oh, Bud's open. Manliest man on this form. Anyways,
But yeah, so
so
it's a secret project,
if you're
but we're going to reveal some of it.
listening to this in an MP3 format, which I'd be surprised if anyone is listening at all. But if you are listening to this in an MP3 format, then you should really check out the video because we got some footage of this work in progress straight from the Lieutenant League, straight from the creator himself, from his desktop, where he is in Unity recreating the Sploder platformer. And it looks sweet. The lighting is on par. Some of the bricks are off. I mean, it's the physics are the character physics and jumping and whatnot. It's a lot better than the platformer, but it's like it doesn't capture what the platformer is, and it might break some games if it's not done to a T. But other than that, it looks pretty cool, and I like it. I like where it's going. And Brocky, you got any more information to share about this?
Yeah, so as I was saying, so it's like a completely reconstruction of the platformer creator. The thing is, though, at the moment, it's all completely unofficial, but it should be finished. It'll be awesome to note whether when.
Making games would
Well,
easily work. I
we
mean,
don't have an exact date for that just yet, but this is basically still in a.
finished though,
I'm going to
right?
say beta phase right now, so it's still
I
in
would
beta.
say beta phase. That looks a lot more like alpha with the physics and everything. And beta would be like a working copy, and it just has like some glitches to. Oh man, my bad. Some glitches to like
I mean,
surface out.
technically, it is working though at the moment. So
Oh, does the editor work?
you know what? It's we'll call it alpha though. So
Can you make it so
yeah,
so tell this man or woman or it or whatever. I'm not judging. I don't know what they are into, but tell this person, if they even are a person, to use some XML data from Sploder and make sure it corresponds to his recreation in Unity, so that Sploder XML data, whatever you want to call it, can be loaded as well as the module files and everything. Because also, Jeff doesn't know, you say?
We're still waiting on Jeff to view it, but
Gotcha.
yeah, it looks promising so far.
Do you want me to speed that up? Like,
Oh, I
have
mean,
you messaged
I
him?
could
Because
message him
like,
myself.
yeah, he
He
responds to all
I'm on
messages.
friendly terms with Jeff, so
Yeah, he responds to all
he
messages, so you
follows
should
me
be able
on
to get
Twitter
one
and
from
everything
him.
like that. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Anyways, along with that, yeah, Jeff, I'm sure
it's
he
probably
he really needs people, and oh, I'll edit that out.
you're gonna have to edit that part out. Yeah.
My bad.
See, this is why we aren't live on Twitch.
Thank God. Thank God. I lost my train of thought. What was I saying? I said, Jeff, Jeff really needs people, and this person is like Jesus to Jeff. So I'm sure Jeff would be all for it for sure. Like he wanted to make it, and I believe it's called. Let me find my PMs with you. It's called Pixie JS, which is a pretty cool HTML5 creation engine, and I'm sure HTML5 would be far better than Unity. I'm sure, but in the current state, Unity would work. And hold on, I'm gonna edit this part out because I just lost my train of thought. You want to give your
That's all good,
thoughts?
mate.
You want to give your thoughts?
Yeah, so it's probably a good point to bring up that, especially considering that this recreation of the platform is coming around, well, it's probably good to bring up how Jeff is, he's looking at not, he says he might open source Sploder.
Yeah, I
So
don't.
this essentially is step one, really.
My
And I don't,
personal opinion is that open sourcing Sploder would be a terrible idea. And something like this, it's not for open sourcing. Like web apps, they're not for open sourcing. Open source programs work a lot better if they're like executable files or like really well built, already functional programs on their own, where users can just submit modifications. With a program like Sploder that's about to die, open sourcing it wouldn't help, and it only allow for people to create their own clones in HTML5, because no one's going to want to support Sploder if there's nothing to get out of it. And what Jeff has is something amazing, and people can exploit that to the fullest potential. So,
yeah, and I think that's one thing which really needs to, oh, sorry to hear about your cough, man. That's one thing which really needs to, I
Wordy
think we should
Girls,
really reiterate, because Jeff needs all the help he can get with
Wordy
Sploder at the
Girls
moment.
water has demons in it. I am unsubscribing
Don't
from the
mention that
Sploder
name.
Church. I'm done.
But
I'm
yeah,
an
Jeff needs all the
atheist.
help that he can get, though. So
Yeah, Jeff has a tendonitis, which most people get at a ripe old age of 70 or 80 or whatever Jeff is. I don't even know if he's alive. Nah, I'm kidding. If you're listening to this, Jeff, I know you. You're cool. You're living. That's that's good enough. But what I'm saying is Jeff can't really do things on his own, and he works at Me Circle, which is like a Amazon Alexa for parenting, and his own project. I'm sure he gets like $1,000 max a month out of Sploder at his current stage, where it gets less users than a site that like I helped a dude make in 10 days. It gets Sploder gets less visitors than that, so more
I
helpers
mean,
is
a
always good.
thousand a month still isn't too bad.
1,000 a month is good, but it doesn't really pay the bills compared to what you would get out of Meat Circle,
Oh,
which
absolutely not.
probably gets way more than that. $1,000 a month probably pays for like some of it goes to taxes, so I'm sure he gets like 600 or 700 out of it, if even. because Sploder isn't really profitable, and you can't really pay someone for work like that because even the smallest programs, like small lines of code, like people demand $20 for like freelance work like that. So just imagine how much he'd have to pay people to rewrite Sploder, game creators, and someone doing it out of their own free will. That's like
Hmm.
being a homeless guy and just one day waking up in a mansion. That's a lifesaver for a developer because developers live by the paycheck. And yeah. Anyways, let's talk about Jeff and how his activity has increased tremendously and how it is a possibly the greatest thing that this forums have seen in a while because it's fun to see Jeff online. Not only that, but he's been on like almost every single day. Like first it was him coming on during the weekends, and then he started coming on like Mondays and Fridays, and now he's just coming on every single day, and it is glorious to see. Not only that, but he over the weekend, this weekend actually, he was on Sploderheads for a good like nearly 6 hours. He played a ton of games where Fuzz the hamster won some, Joey won some, I won some, and I think Jeff lost every single one. But it was really fun to see Jeff talk to his users. He was a fun guy, and he was very tolerant of like bad things. Like users would request username changes, he'd play with them, and like I think the only time he had to tell a user to stop was like even though Jeff himself was bypassing. Lego Refat asked him, "Yo, Jeff, do you smoke crack?" And then Jeff was like, "Yo, you gotta tone it down a little." But besides that, that reminds me. What Lego said reminds me of a little Q&A the forum had, and it had Viper the rapper, and had some mixed
Hmm.
opinions, especially from myself, because after making that, I had found that Viper the rapper had some very controversial advertisement campaigns where he invited hookers over to his house and had them like dance with him and shit. And one of them seemed to be a little underage and very creepy. But besides that, the dude has released over 1,500 albums. He's gone to jail, and in his time during jail, he's written over like 4,000 songs. And he's worked with like some really famous artists like Mesh, who made some really popular vaporwave albums that have sold a lot. And that doesn't matter though. What does matter is that he tweeted out the Sploder forums link to 100,000 people. Some people signed up just to make questions, and I think only one person actually got through because I heard a lot of accounts were denied, so that's a shame. But
Yeah,
all in
and see,
all,
that's actually an issue I've been trying to get like rectified for a while now. I think we should have like loosened up our acceptances.
recently Brick with two C's turned out to be text label, and
Yep, that's true.
but he came out with his own thread before I had told any actual staff members, and he kind of gave himself up in that sense. Like when I was banned, I did the same thing, and you're always going to be found out in the end. So there's really no point but to wait out your ban. And people like Text Label, they seem to have understood that, but people like Cyclone, they still come back and they just never learn, and it's a damn shame.
Mm. I mean, I personally can't even remember who Text Label is in the first place, to be honest.
Do you remember why he was
And
banned?
see, I don't even remember why he was banned. Like
What he
that's
did was
how little I really like know nowadays.
apparently he like posted porn to the forums, but I do not recall that at all. What I recall is that he decided to ban all the moderators on the main site, and he said, "You must now call me King Label, the owner of the moderation team," and it was really stupid, and I hated it. It was so dumb and made no sense at all because everything was averted in like an hour. Liam Knight will be able to appear on the podcast in 10 minutes if you're interested. How does that sound? Do you just want to limit it to us for this entire episode or what? Actually, you know what, hold on. I'm
I
gonna
think
I'm
just limited to us.
all right. Sounds good. Sounds good. No problem. But what else do we have to talk about? Oh yeah, many staff promotions, demotions, and basically an entire makeover of the staff team. I we saw many demotions. In the lieutenants, we saw Yu-Gi-Oh! 77 leave, who was a good guy, but his moderation was limited to none, with no activity whatsoever. And he started off strong with some awards remakeovers, but the ball was sort of dropped afterwards, and he admitted that himself, and he stepped down out of his own free will. And I think that was the only lieutenant that left. In the general sense, we saw, who do we see?
Um, I can't remember now, but I know we're down to 12 staff
We
members, not
we
including Jeff now.
we
So
saw
we've lost my own. We've lost
my
my
own
own.
self, Ripto,
Yep.
Alana Six, who left today actually. I think that's it actually. Unless I'm forgetting anyone, but we also
But of
saw
course, we saw promotions as well. So we got people like
many
Grant and Liam
promotions.
back. So
7 Grand 2 came back, which is a breath of fresh air because he's one of the most praised staff members that has ever used the forums, and he sort of became. I'd say back then he was the face of the forums almost when Thrash wasn't around anymore, and he has like his own blame Grant sort of title, and along with
Grant's fault.
him, yeah, and Liam Knight came back, who is very radical in his changes. He does a lot of stuff, and it's another breath of fresh air. He, what is he doing? What is he doing? He has this little news thing set up, which I believe is going to progress further soon. But along with that, he has done a lot of feature topics. He's done a lot of little games. What has he done? Do you know what he's done?
Honestly, he's done a lot to help with getting activity and stuff done. He's always contributing in discussions in Loot League. He's wanted to clean up stuff, so he's been cleaning up stuff. He's looking at moderation requests. He's really just doing everything that he can to help out, and
And I love that.
it's good.
He's currently on vacation right now, so if you're wondering why he's inactive at the moment, semi at least, that would explain it because he just came to the USA for the first time in a while. And good on him. Good on him. Glad to have him here.
Yeah,
He's gonna try and meet some members, including he won't be able to meet me because I'll be busy in Maryland when he's in my area, but he's gonna try and meet Shady, Brocky, and some other people, which is all cool.
yeah. Well,
Cool.
that's the thing. I'm meeting up with him when I go to Japan later on
That's cool too. That's
this
cool.
year/next year. So
I think there's only been like a
yeah.
few Sploder meetups before, and they've all been mostly death meeting with people. Like I know he met with Grant. He met with I just Grant's the only one I know off the top of my head. And I know Spellmage we met with Ravical. That was cool too. And yeah, what else? What other topics do we have? Oh yeah, Lobert. So did you hear about
Yeah,
the
so
Lobert thing?
I heard about Lobot being banned, but
So
I
we
really
there really
I'm still really behind on everything which is
there
happening.
really isn't much to say about it. He did some stupid stuff, and he got what he got what was coming for him, and that's about it. On that topic, there isn't really much to say about Lobert. He's gone for good. Out of his own free will, he wants to be gone, but the way he went about leaving was terrible, and I commend him for that. Is that right? Commend's negative, right?
No, commend's more of a positive thing. That's like saying
I'm thinking of another
that's
word.
like saying, oh, this person did this, but I commend him for doing it because it was the right thing to do.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
I
what I'm
think that's
thinking
more
of.
positive than negative.
All
But
right,
yeah,
let's say instead, and you know what? Nah, let's just forget about that. I don't even really care. We can cut the Lobert thing completely. Who cares about Lobert? But
I
one
really think
last,
that's one more thing to talk about, which is a status Sploder, really.
yeah. State Sploder. What do you think?
I think
I
I think
think
the cogs are turning, man. I think things are gonna start happening. I have high hopes. No pun
in the
intended.
midst of Flash announcing its deprecation in 2020, there is still a shining light of hope with Jeff being very active. This creator that this person is working on, and the overall boost in activity. We have the Sploder Discord, which Joji has been running exuberantly for a while, and we all really appreciate his work on that Sploder Discord because it's brought the community together. We have Grant, who's reforming things along with Liam and others. We have the current staff team, which you always had, and that reminds me, we forgot to talk about how Epico also came back to the general rank. Surprising,
That is right.
not
Epico, yes.
surprising that we forgot about Epico. Uh, that's typical of me, but Epico's a cool guy. I like Epico. Did we talk about how TB Remis, I think that's how you pronounce it, TB Remis and Rabical came back to Lieutenant? Because that's also another
Yeah,
thing to
I think we
mention.
did.
You know what I noticed? We even though we banned sticking soldier promotion threads, we started sticking them, and we stopped sticking staff promotion demotion threads, which makes no sense to me. We just did a complete 180 there.
Yeah, and considering that soldier doesn't mean anything, that's pretty weird. So,
Soldier doesn't mean anything. What are you talking about?
yep, that's the truth. It's a social rank. Doesn't mean anything. So, all you privates out there who are so like fed up with not being a soldier, there's
There's a
nothing good about being a soldier, man. Stay as a private for as long as you can,
there's
because trust
just
me,
a
you'll find there is way more enjoyment as a private than there is as a soldier.
yeah
Because once you become a soldier, you're
I
like, oh, now I need to become a lieutenant. Once I become a lieutenant, then I need to become a general. And once you become a general, you end up really salty and really just not enjoying things, and you end up like me. And you don't want to be like me.
yeah, you look forward to getting these ranks and you want them so badly, but once you finally get them, it's not all it's hyped up to be. But you still want to keep your rank because it's a cool rank and status over emotion or whatever. Like it's kind of like working a job
Exactly.
where you hate working a job, but you show up. Actually, I think you show up for money. That's a terrible analogy. That is my bad. But you know what I did off topic, but I went out yesterday and I bought myself a USB stick. I'm opening it right now. You know, I'm going to store on this. I'm going to store uh, 55 gigabytes of DOS games. You ever played DOS games?
DOS games. That's a
DOS. Old
I was
90s
gonna
games.
say that's
Duke
a
Nukem. Apogee.
that's a thing I haven't heard in a while.
Yeah, I found this really cool game the other day. It's called Drug Lord, and you basically play as a guy who jumps from city to city, town to town, selling drugs and what do you call it, borrowing money from the loan shark and then having to pay it back, or else you get beaten with a baseball bat to death. Buying
Hmm.
guns. It's pretty realistic for a game made in the 90s, and it's all text based. That reminds me, I also like Dwarf Fortress, but it's a pain to get into. But once you're into it, it's worth it. That's another like text-based game you should definitely check out. It's all made in ASCII art. And one last game you should check out is my bad, Sploder games.
Sploder
Now,
games.
I know this is a Sploder podcast, and this is not a paid endorsement or an endorsement that's biased in any way. I legitimately have found myself playing them and enjoying them. Like I went into the Wayback Machine and I found the older games in the EGL which were voted out, and I had a ton of fun playing them. Like the Greats games, serious uh, shooter games, I find to be a lot of fun. All types of games I find to be a lot of fun. The only games that I do not find fun at all are arcade games, even algorithm crew games. I found that they're a lot of fun when you're in the right mood. And I played a Lego
Speaking of
Refats
the
game.
algorithm games,
Yeah?
there's a this is actually my announcement that I am actually creating an algorithm crew game.
Really?
Yes, I am.
Let's hear about it. What's gonna happen in it? Lego Refat.
Yeah.
He's the first person I ever talked to in on Sploder. He invited me to Tiny Chat and he showed me how it worked. And then he left like a week later, and I never saw him until he came back like 2 weeks ago or something. But he created a nice algorithm game, and it was pretty good for an algorithm game. It's the first algorithm game that was any good at all in a long time. I watched him make it, and then this MSM main site moderator, who I'm not going to name, comes along and he sees the name, which is a joke title, "How to Download Sonic's Forces for Free," and he unfeatures it. and it's caused him to delete it, and I feel bad, and I feel like people with badges, like, you don't need to take your position more seriously, but you need to at least treat it like maturely, because
Exactly.
unfeaturing a game which is actually a legitimate good game just because you read the title and didn't even play through it, and then he later claimed to have played through it, but I don't know about that statement. I mean, he didn't follow the rules that are clearly stated in the main site office, and that's just a practice that shouldn't really be around. But you got any more comments to add?
Not really. I think we've covered pretty much everything. Yeah, I think, yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, there's nothing else to talk about. Let me pause for a second. The recording. What happened? What happened?
Indian telecom caller.
Sweet. Put him on speaker and he'll be our outro.
Oh, I already told him to F off.
Oh, sweet. Why'd you mute yourself? I want to hear that. Anyways,
No, I mean my phone. No, my phone's in like another room of the house.
oh, I feel you. I feel you. That makes sense. Oh man, all these
Yeah.
people who I invited for the first podcast are messaging me now. What a shame. Oh well. Anyways, that about wraps up this first episode. I know I spoke a lot, and so did Brocky, because it was only two of us really. And what can I say? It's kind of hard, but in the future,
Exactly.
we're gonna have up to 6 people, including guests, many guests. I have some really interesting ones lined up, including possibly the person working on it once he reveals his identity, working on the Sploder remake. You want to talk more about that, Neapolitan? The future of this
Um,
podcast?
let's just say that things are going to get serious. It's happening. The podcast is gonna take over. That's what I'm
Yeah,
just gonna say.
we're we're gonna have Epicosaurus, also known as Jamie. Ben is Awesome 7, also known as Ben. Uh,
Ben, you idiot.
yeah, that guy. We're gonna have Needles, also known as Penny. We're gonna have Brocky, also known as Neapolitan, which you are listening to him right now. His elegant voice is.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately, what are you talking about, man? I am going to fall asleep to your wonderful voice on repeat once I'm done editing this. We're gonna have myself, Sticky, the man, and 7 Grand 2, also known as Grant, also known as really cool guy. And yeah, that's the future of this podcast. This is just a test episode. We'll call this a pilot, and I'd say it's a pretty good pilot, but I'm sure once I edit this, I'm gonna be disappointed and embarrassed, and that's fine. That's fine. Who cares? I had fun, right? You had fun, right? You had fun.
Absolutely.
All right. If you had fun, then I had fun. Then we're gonna end the episode here. Uh, thanks for joining us.
Thank you,
Uh,
everybody.
Not everyone. If you're a private, then you shouldn't even be listening to this. If you're a Soldier Plus, though, thank you so much for listening to this. I'm kidding. I'm kidding, privates. I love you guys. Please listen to this. Please, for God's sake,
Yeah.
listen to this. Leave a like, a comment, put a view on this video. Anything
And
at all
remember to
that helps
smack
us.
that like button.
Yeah, smack it. But only once, though. Don't smack it more than once, or else the like
Yeah.
won't register.
We don't want you going like, oh, yeah.
All right,
We
you
want
can
you to
smack
smack
it,
it
and
once.
you can smack it an odd amount of times, as long as a like is registered in the end. Hey, look who joined at the very end.
Buds, do you want to say goodbye?
Bye.
See
Oh,
ya.
so cute.
I love everyone,
That statement is untrue.
except for a lot of you.
There we go. There we go. There's a little bit of truth to it. All right. See ya.
Bye.